Thank you, Simon, and welcome to the TT Grandstand, everybody, for Tuesday's qualifying session of the Festival of Motorcycling. No doubt about the headline maker last night, Bruce Anstey making a fantastic return to the TT course and fastest aboard the Malenko by Paget's 250 in the Dunlop Lightweight Classic TT session at 116.277 miles per hour. It was a treat for everybody to see Bruce out there last night, and the social media reaction was absolutely superb. There's pictures of him, and everybody's just delighted to have Bruce back on the TT course. Senior TT champion Dean Harrison was second fastest in that category, and he led the way in the RST Superbike Classic TT session at 123.42 miles per hour on the Silicon Engineering Kawasaki. In the Manx Grand Prix classes, Stephen Parsons was fastest of the Mulcrease Junior MGP riders at 118.936 on the People's Bike Kawasaki, and Damien Horan best of the senior MGP contenders at 115.422 miles per hour. Sadly, that was as far as we got. A red flag incident halting action just as the session for the remaining classes got underway at 7:15. Organisers have confirmed that Mark Herbertson was the rider hospitalised in the incident at the Black Hut, and we understand that Mark had an operation for the reported leg injuries earlier today, and we all wish him a very speedy recovery. As a result of that, and the fact that the lighter capacity bikes haven't yet been out on the circuit, the schedule for this evening has been changed. The roads are now closed around the course. They closed at 6 o'clock. At 6:20 through until 7:10, we are due to have a session for the Classic TT Junior and Senior machines, the 350 and 500s, and the Manx Grand Prix lightweight and ultra lightweights, and the newcomers B. None of those guys, well, apart from the newcomers B doing their speed control lap, none of them have been out on the course as yet. That will run through till 7:10. At 7:15 through till 8 o'clock, we're due to have a session for the Classic TT lightweight and superbikes, and the Manx Grand Prix Senior and Junior and newcomers A, which is essentially the 600cc machines, with the roads to be opened by 9 o'clock. But all of that is dependent upon the weather, and as we look out here from the TT Grandstand, we can already not see the top of Beery, not see up over Snae Fell, not see as we look south, the top of South Barrule. The cloud is lowering all the time. We must be hopeful and very lucky to get a full night of action in here, because that cloud is coming down. Looking at the rain radar, there has been a shower in the last half hour or so up over Ramsey. There is one at the moment across the south of the island. So we are once again in a frustrating situation of just hoping that we manage to get the action away, in particular for those classes that haven't yet been out on the course. So let's head outside and find out a better idea of conditions right now, where we have Tim Glover in the paddock, and in the pit lane and on Glencrutchy Road, we say a hopeful good evening to Chris Palmer and firstly Chris Kinley.
Good evening, Chris. Good evening to everybody giving to the Chris, and good evening to Tim as well, and good evening to you listening all the way around the world, or even just here around the Isle of Man. The 37 3/4 mile mountain circuit is now closed, and we are ready to go practicing, with the session for this evening being started off by the Senior Classic and the Junior Classics, the lightweight and ultra lightweight Manx Grand Prix machines, and Class B and Class C from the Manx Grand Prix. It's going to be a busy session. We're waiting for the update on the weather, and you've just said that, Chris, about the weather that's over the south of the island. I was watching a big shower cloud drop around to the far side of the island on the south, and it kind of skirts around the side of the airport. Thankfully that's cleared us. Let's hope we get going in around about 10 minutes time. But Tim Glover with his first victim, shall we say, is speaking to Bob Hosker. Tim.
Yeah, Rob Hodgson here. You've got both bikes here. Which one's going first?
We're going out on the Junior 350 first. Yeah, I'm very a bit anxious about going out. I've not much experience on these, so yeah, we'll see how we go.
The weather's again a concern, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been lovely all day, but now it's a bit overcast and maybe have some spots of drizzle later, but yeah, we should be all right.
And you got the family helping as well?
Yeah, I've got my mum and dad here, Ruthless Racing and Jeff Bates, who put these bikes together, so it's they're looking brilliant, so hopefully they go as well.
Yeah, Ruthless Racing looks good on the fairing.
That's it, yeah, it's actually an anagram of Leadhurst, so, but yeah, we'll see.
Good luck, go well, Rob. Thanks very much. Back to you, Chris Kinley.
Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, I could hardly hear the producer telling me over Bob Hoskin. Was it Bob Hoskin, the actor?
Yeah.
No, Rob Hodgson it was as well. Nice to see Robbie. I've seen some nice pictures of him up at Derby doing at the track day, which a lot of people have made use of the Andrews Racing Club, the Derby Motorsport Muses lot. So well done to them. Hey, listen, well done to Milky Quail's young fella, by the way. He's leading one of the big championships across in England at the moment, young Ilium. So well done to him. He's hopefully going to wrap that up in the next round, which I'm trying to remember when it is. Tough week so far for all the competitors. Tough week for all the marshals out there, all the officials, everybody involved with setting up this festival of motorcycling. And looking up there, these guys are keen as mustard, but they all look quite relaxed. Just looking at Paul Jordan, Michael Swede having a bit of fun. Just had a quick chat with Dom Herbertson, obviously pass our wishes, Chris, onto his dad Mark as he gets well for those injuries up on the Black Hut. And just occasionally here, and even now, just on my spectacles, just a little bit of rain just starting to hit them. So we want to get underway here. Somebody just said to me, how long do we give it? Well, we give it as long as till the weather decides we can't play anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I mean, it's grey, it's overcast, there's a little bit of a breeze. I don't see this sort of moisture being a problem, but obviously we don't know what's going to happen further around the course. But let's hope to just get away and get a good session in.
So if you're just joining us and if you missed exactly what is going to be happening this evening, we've switched the session round, and the organisers, should I say, not us, not me and you, it's not
not us. No.
It's not us, have switched the sessions round, okay? So the session that was going to be going out first, which is over the... So you have two programmes in your hands, all right? And you've got to try and flip between the two. So it's Tuesday, the 20th of August.
It's not easy.
It's not, mate. Classic TT Junior, Classic TT Senior, Manx Grand Prix Lightweight and Ultra Lightweight, and newcomers B and C. They're going to be going first in around about 8 or so minutes' time. And then we will have the Manx Grand Prix Senior and Junior, the Classic TT Lightweight, Classic TT Superbike, and the newcomers A. And it's important these newcomers get out because they've only done that one lap on...
Escorted as well.
When was that? That was Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Incredible, isn't it? I always get a bit fearful of getting a bit close to all this lot because it always very, very loud, isn't it? We just heard that interview with Tim. It's just so loud. There's nothing up on the board yet. It just says test message. I can see Michael Rutter there. He's just getting himself all organised, just sorting out the rear. I tell you what, he's got a little hump on the back of his leathers, and a lot of them use them humps for putting water in, don't they? So if it's a bit warm.
Yeah, like a camel pack.
A lot of people have got mobile phones stuck in them. Remember the days when you had spark plugs in the side of your fairing and stuff, and those days? You don't remember them days, do you? So yeah, Chris is Michael Rutter just getting himself all organised. A very good video last night I saw on one of the social media channels of the riders who were stopped by the Railway Inn in Union Mills, all having a bit of banter there, and John McGuinness and James Hillier getting Maria Costello's pattern fired back up, so they managed to get that going. And that was good to see. All the riders were helping in and mucking out, because they're heavy things to get pushing and going, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
To push it back up that little hill.
Yeah. They're not always easy to start either, do you know what I mean? I've actually stopped out at Ramsey when we got red flagged, and getting it started wasn't the easiest thing either, so...
Roll it back on the compression.
Onto compression, and then get a marshal to give you a push, hopefully, preferably. But yeah, eventually we got it started, but it did take some starting.
And if they're warmer, are they harder to start them when they're cold, or?
Well, it was just difficult getting it started, full stop, to be honest.
Stop somewhere where there's a wee bit of a hill. Not sure where Tim is. I know he's out and about up there. There's a lot of riders here, as you've said, are already. I could see. Well, there's a lad I'm glad to see back. Young Chris Swallow. Now he's a good classic rider, Bill's young man, and a few spits and spots of rain just starting to fall here at the TT Grandstand, which is a bit of a shame. Going off at number 10 on the 350 Velocet, the Junior Classic TT. He's a good classic rider. He's been down in New Zealand for a long time, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. But a bit of podium man. You know, he's a real good goer.
And he likes his flat cap as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Why is that then? I wonder. It's from where he's from. That's why it is. And as we look a little bit further back, and again, few more spits and spots of rain. And Chris Boyd up in the tower there, you're looking down south towards the RST bridge. How does that look, and what does your little weather rain radar thing tell us?
Well, we're looking all right, I think, at the moment. We've just had a message in from Ramsey to say that the roads are still dry up there, so that's a good sign, because the radar did show a shower moving across the north. It looks like there's a shower just south of the TT course at the moment, actually, one just moving in, sort of Dolby type area, and across that, for people that know the island, just south of the TT course. Let's hope that doesn't come any further north. As we look down the Central Valley, that looks reasonably bright. We can't see out towards South Brule and the top of South Barule, so it does suggest that the south is lowering. The stuff on the Beery, and over the top of Snaefell. Doesn't look like it's come down any further, but certainly visibility up there doesn't look great. And in general, the light isn't that bright, is it, Chris? So we'll just have to wait and see. The radar suggests no rain over the TT course right now, but certainly some in the vicinity.
Thank you very much, Chris Boyd, our very own John Ketley. That's all we're going to say. Now, from a rider perspective tonight, he's just said about the light. Now, we mentioned this on Saturday. We mentioned it last night about the visor. I think there's only one way to go tonight, just a clear, isn't it?
Yeah, personally, I would run a clear visor, yeah, definitely.
Dead easy to change, really quick.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're all quick release these days. So, yeah, it's not a difficult job. But like we said earlier, in the past, when you go down under the trees on the way to Ramsey and stuff, it's just like switching the lights off. It can get really dark.
And especially this time of year, when everything's in full bloom.
Exactly. So, yeah, you've got a good canopy over the trees. So,
a bit cooler tonight, too, than what it has been. It was a bit warm when we came out because we had all the gear and it was warm in there. Temperature's not really going to affect these tyre-wise because there's no time. For those people say, well, why do you mention that? You've already said that on Saturday. However, there's people, like we try and say, always coming in to the sport and wanting to learn stuff. The classic bikes, not like the modern bikes, Chris, no tyre warmers.
No tyre warmers, but they do run really soft compound tyres, so it's surprising how fast you can ride them straight away. You don't have to get real heat into them. You can literally go around the first corner as fast as the last corner. They really are that, absolutely, they really are that good. The only thing you've got to watch for is when you've set your suspension, you've got to remember that if you go out in practice and only do one lap at a time or 2 laps at a time, you're only running like half a tank. When you set off for the race, you're running a full tank, 24 litres if it's going to do the full 4 laps, and that makes a heck of a difference. You're running a full tank of fuel. When you hit the bottom of Bray Hill, you feel like you're going through the road. The bike's that heavy. I've made that mistake in the past, schoolboy error. Gone out in practice with half a tank maybe, and then all of a sudden you go out in the race with a full tank and it makes a massive difference.
Just got the board up now. Road surface is dry, visibility is good, which is good news at the moment. Still a few spits and spots of rain, and one man who's seen it all over a very, very long TT career from the early 80s, Dave Banter-Migdal. He's with Tim Glover.
And I can tell you, Chris Kinley, he's got a brolly with him. That's not a good sign.
I thought we've had enough standing about. I didn't want to get wet, so I thought be prepared. We'll take the umbrella and we'll see how it goes.
How do you assess conditions tonight? The cloud does seem to be lowering, which is never a good sign.
No, I think if we get away early on time, I see with the classic bikes, we've got the tyres for it, so it shouldn't really be a problem. We just take it steady and just get some laps in. That's the main of the game.
I don't think I've ever seen a rider head into one of the areas to start a practice session with a brolly, ever.
Always be prepared.
Dave Madston-Migdal, back to you, Chris Kinley.
Yeah, the most finishingist, is that the right word? The most finishingist TT rider of all time, Dave Madston-Migdal?
I think people know what you mean.
Yeah, most finishingist, that'll do. I know it's probably not a proper word. Just a few more spits and spots of rain. As you can just see a few people, I think that's the only probably we can see is up there. Dom Herbertson looking pretty relaxed, which is great to see. Sure, a lot of things going through his mind, and I'm just looking to see it is busy. That pit lane is very, very busy. Nothing official yet from the organisers. We're still heading for a 20 past start, and I think it's just coming up to around about 18 minutes past now, and few more spits and spots of rain, and heavier spots as well, which is, I think, what Chris was just alluding to there. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go and hide all our paperwork because we don't want it to get it, and all our computers, so we don't want it to get wet. Hang on a sec.
I've just noticed John McGuinness's leathers. They're very razzmatazz for a classic bike, aren't they?
Yeah, Tim Winfield ones.
Yeah, they're very bright. You won't miss him coming in those.
Well, you think about the Mugen leathers, he has TT0. Quickly up to Chris Boyd, let's get an update. Chris.
Yes, Clark of the course, Gary Thompson just announcing a 5-minute delay while they move marshals round, so hopefully only a brief 5-minute delay, and the plan is therefore to get underway at 6:25. These conditions are sort of holding where they are, really. We can see one of the helicopters is heading out to its position, so hopefully it's good to go at 25 past 6, Chris Kinley.
Well, I've just got to grab a good old mate of mine, Mark Parrott. Hello, me old mate. Senior Manx Grand Prix winner from 2000 and... Let me get it. Two.
Yeah,
yes,
2000.
I was right, yeah.
Long time ago now.
Now, you were telling me at the Ulster Grand Prix you bought a programme, the programme of the... Talk us through it.
Yeah. I was looking around over in the stall there and the other side of the track, and they had a programme from 2003 Manx Grand Prix, which has a 2002 winner on it. And that was a nice.
Is that you?
Yeah, that was me. Nice picture on the front on Desi Collins' bike. Yeah. Poor old Desi Collins, he's well missed in that. It's just a great picture, and I thought, well, it's a little bit for posterity in that, because I never ever kept the original programme, unfortunately.
And I bet you didn't pay the cover price. It was.
No, it's 50p less than cover price.
Well, it don't matter, but it's nice for you to have that in your collection, to remember, because I know I've been to your house and you've got stuff in there from that day, haven't you? So it's nice to marry it up.
Yeah, we got a nice picture from there, and we got the little thing from the Manx Grand Prix dinner as well, your little table placemat thing. But I just thought, it's the closest I'll ever get to that bike again, really, because unfortunately, I don't know whether Ronnie sold it yet on Desi's behalf, but I know it was banded at quite a high figure, and I'd love to have that sat in the lounge, but, it's quite a valuable piece of kit, and I just haven't got the money to buy it, so that's the closest I'll get to a best memory of it.
A tough festival of motorcycling so far for yourselves and organisers and everybody here, isn't it? It's one of these, isn't it, again? It's like TT all over.
Yeah, it is. Gary's doing a brilliant job as he done at TT and that. He's just got the odds stacked against him sometimes. You got to feel for the newcomers though, because they just haven't had any time on track yet. I mean, I've done probably thousands of laps around here. I think I've had nearly 80 or 90 starts at TT, and it's probably over 100 taking the Manx into account. So I've got loads of experience, so I can afford to miss a few laps. But some of the Manx Grand Prix lads and the newcomers, they need every lap they can. But all I can say to them is, if you're not getting the laps, don't get frustrated. It will come to you. Just take it nice and easy, have a safe race, and make sure you come back to have a good go next year.
Think back to your Manx Grand Prix debut. You didn't have any of this newcomers laps and all this malarkey, did you?
No, we didn't. My dad had been coming over and watching TT for maybe 10 years before that, and I'd been doing a Manx 2-day trial as a sidecar passenger. And my dad took me around in the van on the Thursday afternoon, and we got to the end of Solby Straight, just going by Ginger Hall, and he said, "What's next then, son?" And I said, it's Schoolhouse Corner, isn't it? And he just put his hands in his laps and started crying. He was gobsmacked, and I didn't realise what I'd missed. 5-6 miles at the bumpiest part of the circuit. But, it was great. The way the Manx Grand Prix was then, you picked a rider, you followed him, you went out with the classics the first couple of nights. I followed Chris McGann for a couple of nights, and that was basically, that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, the lines, he'd leave me through the corners, and I catch him on the straight, and he said, just follow me, don't overtake, catch up and stay behind. And it was the best advice anyone had given me. And then Ian Hickey, Phil Hickey, Al Waterfield, all the lads that were doing it, just kept pushing me along every session, pick another rider. And then in the newcomers race, we lapped at 112. Ryan Farquhar won it, Kenneth Moreau was second, and I was third, and it was absolutely brilliant. But it was a slow learning curve, and it paid off. Learn it slowly, race quickly.
All right, Mark, listen, hopefully we'll get going soon. Good luck for tonight.
Cheers, Chris, thanks.
Thanks very much. Says Mark Parrott, winner of the 2002 Senior Manx Grand Prix, and Tim Glover is with local man Dave Moffat.
Yeah, we're sticking with the locals because I think they probably know these conditions better than anybody else. And you wanted to have a look, didn't you, up on the webcams there, and just get the Snaefell on. You can just see that's come down probably a bit since you last looked.
It has. It looked really bright when I last looked at it. But at the minute, it's good to go, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's got a 5-minute delay, as you heard, but you look down south, that's always the indicator. That's where it's coming from as well, and that's filling in, it would look, and raining in Colby, as I say.
Yeah, and Castletown, it's on its way. It's definitely coming. Hopefully we can get a lap in on these smaller bikes.
Well, you desperately need to get out there, don't you?
Absolutely, it's TT Take 2, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, but I think the longer range, tomorrow looks a bit of a blip, but then after that...
Yeah, Thursday, Friday and all next week's looking really, really good, so hopefully, weather plays ball with us. Let us get a lap in tonight. Maybe tomorrow will be a washout, but then Thursday, Friday will be good.
How much practice, in all seriousness, do you need before you'd be comfortable going racing?
A couple of laps. I just want to get a couple of laps in on the 350 and maybe 3 or 4 on the 1100, and then we're good to go.
So that's potentially Thursday afternoon, maybe, if we get the number of marshals.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And thanks to the marshals for bearing with us with all the shenanigans that's going on with this bloody weather. Well done.
Let you off with that one. Thanks very much there, Dave. And back down to you, Chris Kinley.
Yeah, quite a calm, sort of considered chap Dave normally is, but even he is feeling the frustration, Chris. And if you were still a rider, you're about to go out on one of them Ripley Land bikes, just for an example, would you still be thinking, oh, for God's sake, would you be thinking that?
Yeah, I'd be fraying at the edges by now a little bit,
Would you
I think.
really?
Yeah,
did you get like that?
Yeah, I got a little bit champing at the bit. Yeah, I always wanted to get going, and it's like he says, you need to get some laps under your belt, you need to get your eye in, you need to find your apexes, you need to make sure the bike's geared properly, you need to make sure it's carbureting properly. Every lap is a learning lap, especially with the classics. You've got to sort of pinch an inch everywhere and get the best out of the classics.
Well, thankfully there was a little rain shower that we had, and it was actually putting onto the Isle of Man Festival of Motorcycling banners there. That rain's still on there, but the rain has gone off in the air now, hasn't it? But it's gone cooler, isn't it? Quite a lot cooler. It's a good job that they put a gentleman's convenience down the bottom here, to be honest with you, because they did ask for this a couple of years ago, didn't they? But now, they finally did put one down the bottom here by where the little hut where all the officials stand, where all the timing officials stand. Let's get to Chris Boyd. Let's get the update from Race Control. Chris Boyd.
Yeah, Gary Thompson announcing a planned 6:30 start, but they are assessing conditions. So they are out there assessing conditions. We noticed a travelling marshal leaving here around about probably 5-10 minutes or so ago, but we're now saying a potential 6:30 p.m. start. So they've got 6 or so minutes to make a decision before 6:30 comes round, and we'll just see how we go. Chris Kinley.
We're just going to talk to me and Chris. We're just talking off air there about all the stuff as well. Just think to ourselves, what are they going to do? And obviously we got Wednesday looks rubbish, as we've alluded to. I was watching that coming in this morning, but again, that could slide a little bit south, and we might get away with it.
Yeah.
There's contingencies in place. We know that for Thursday, and possibly can we run Friday as well.
I don't know about Friday, but definitely I think Thursday could end up being a very busy day, to be honest.
Could be a long day, mate. You might have to try and get some time off, buddy.
Yeah. Well, yes.
You have to try it. Anyway, Tim Glover's made his way back down. I think he's just over there, I think, with maybe John McGuinness, is it? He is, yeah. John McGuinness is with Tim Glover, who's over there. Tim.
Yeah, I think John, just before we put a mic near him, just said, fed up of talking about this. Want to be talking about qualifying times and where you see yourself in the standings, how you feel set up for the race. But here we go again. 2019, the weather gods have not been with us here on the Isle of Man.
It's just insane, isn't it? Just like I say, we just keep repeating ourselves. TT was horrible, and we're just having no luck at all with the weather. I don't know what to say.
It's probably more frustrating for you because you've only got the one bike. You're not really. I mean, how far did you get last night?
We got to Union Mills, but 3 boys were off up on the mountain. They needed attention, so hope they get well soon. They're more important, and that's the way it was. But I got a little run out around the track. And it's sort of marshal led round. But I've been for an ice cream today down at at Peel. We've been sat on the beach, and in a t-shirt, and now as soon as you start a motorbike up, it starts raining. So
that's very reminiscent of TT in practice week, because the weather wasn't too bad in the mornings, but until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then bang.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably get shot to bits, but maybe we need an afternoon session. We need to early on just get some bankers in really early on Monday. If it's or Tuesday or something like that, we can have a mid-afternoon session and try and get some laps under our belt, and maybe have a look at rescheduling these night ones, because it just seems to be the case. If it's not rain, it's mist, and it's that time of day, that time of year where the mist probably comes in, doesn't it? At this time of night, so maybe we should get together and just try and get whoever's in charge to maybe get the road shut a bit earlier for us, and get some laps boxed off before the night time.
Might be marshal numbers at this meeting getting people out. If you look just across the way through the gates there, you can see how much it's lowered, and that's where the shower was. Balagary, I think Gary Thompson made reference to. So obviously they're assessing things, and Balagary's not a great place if it's wet, really, is it?
Well, no, not at all. I mean, that's why it's called Ballascary, we call it, and it's a heart in the mouth sort of corner at best of times when it's good conditions. But I know these little 500s and 350s with these treaded tyres, maybe we could get out there. If the track's even if it's 70% okay, with a lot of experienced riders here, that could possibly take care in those conditions and have a little bit of a do on the other parts of the track. But I heard that mist is down on the mountain, and if that's the case, then we're buggered because we can't get the helimed up there, can we? So, but yeah, frustrating for us all. We're all lined up, we're all chomping at the bit to get going, and it's not our fault. But I don't know what the answer is.
I'll make a promise. I won't come and talk to you again until we're able to talk about times and about prospects for racing rather than the weather.
Well, that's it. I feel sorry for the newcomers. Them guys are getting no laps at all. I've done a lap or two myself, so I sort of know where I'm going. But some of them guys, so frustrating for them. And I know they save up all year. They might have saved up for 2 years. They might have saved up for 5 years to come to this event, and they're not getting any laps. It's all right for us in these fancy teams and that, but it's hard for the guys a bit lower down the field. But we'll get out eventually. We just have to sit waiting patiently, and when it does happen, it'll be worth the wait.
Just avoid any shopping invites, though. All right, John McGuinness there. Back to you, Chris Kinley.
He won't be buying anything anyway if he's going shopping, to be honest with you. Don't tell him I said that, by the way. Don't tell him I said that. But look at that, all the experience and all the TT wins he's got. And even him, he's still champing at the bit. Like you've just said, you want to go.
Yeah, of course you do.
And they only got Junior Mills last night. That's as far as what they got.
Yeah. But it's, sometimes, though, these classics can be a little bit fragile. So the less laps they do can sometimes be in your favour when it comes to race time. Sometimes, you quite often say, bad practice, but a good race, So that might be in the minds of some of the riders as well, you know what I mean? Not putting so many miles on the bikes, which is not a bad thing, but obviously you need to do some laps, a couple of laps under your belt. Make sure the bike does what it's supposed to do, does what it says on the tin, and the gearing's right, carburetion's right, and boom, off you go for the race.
Speaking of boom, off you go, what about your parade lap bike? Have you saw it yet? Have you seen it in the flesh?
I haven't seen it yet, mate, no. But
have you seen a picture of it or anything?
Nothing, no.
Nothing?
No. But apparently...
what's the history of it?
Well, as far as I know, it's the one Lee Pullen rode many years ago for Steve Manton. So I believe, that's what I'm led to believe, it's that particular bike.
He was a good 250
Absolutely,
boy, wasn't he?
No, very good. He was my teammate back in 90...
something.
3, 4, something like that.
Yeah, round about that. All right, Tim Glover, we'll come back to that with Chris in just a moment or two as we reminisce on days gone by. Maria Costello, MBE, is with Tim Glover.
Maria, we're just doing more filling than actual commentary and analysis of practice times. You're chomping at the bit to get out there. We're all frustrated, aren't we?
Yeah, what a shame. I thought that was a glorious summer day earlier, and nobody can do anything about the weather. Let's see what's going on the mountain with the low cloud, but hey, it is good to be back here, but can we have some laps, please?
Well, you had a little bit of an issue here, and the bikes had to have quite a bit of a major overhaul, if I can put it that way.
Peter has worked so hard today, putting in a new engine. So yeah, we did have an issue last night. Probably was a bit of a saving grace that it was a escorted lap. But yeah, had a little stop at Black Hut. Just want to say thanks to the marshals up there. There was a new couple, husband and wife. They're on holiday. They've signed up to marshalling, and obviously they had a bit of they had an incident there. So for your first night marshalling, but apparently they did brilliant. And just well done for everybody who's signed on to enable us to practice.
And we may need to encourage more to sign on for Thursday afternoon if we're going to head into that territory, which, well, the forecast for tomorrow isn't good, so it looks as if we might be.
Yeah, plea to all those people who can and are willing to marshal. That would be really fantastic if we do have to use that Thursday afternoon.
Chris Palmer's made the point that these little bikes, the fewer laps they do before racing, it might be advantageous to them, but you want to get dialed in yourself, don't you?
Yeah, yes and no to that, because last year, if we'd had more laps, we would have found that fault that I had in the race. So you do need a few. We're just talking,
Any would be good at the moment.
Yeah, talking to some other riders, it'd just be nice to do a lap, wouldn't it? Just be nice to do a lap. But what a hard job, Hats off to Gary, he does make a good call, and let's see what happens.
He's run over a black cat or something this year, hasn't he? He's not had any luck.
Well, maybe.
We'll wait and see. Maria, thanks for talking to us. Back to Chris Kinley.
Just a point to make, guys. It is now 6:33. I think that is. Chris Boyd, let's have a weather check from you over to the left-hand side towards the south of the island, and you've got the rain radar up there. What's occurring, as they say in Gavin and Stacey?
Yeah, never mind the south of the island. We've just had Roy Sweetman, who's out at Glen Helen. Our timekeeper out at the Glen Helen commentary point says it's raining at Glen Helen. And I've just had another message in from Phil Poltney to say raining at Crosby. So that rain is now running across the TT course, the southern stretches of the TT course. And as we look down the Central Valley, there does seem to be rain falling. So that does tally. Now, the shower looks like it is right across that Central Valley on the rain radar, although I don't think we're actually feeling anything here at the grandstand, so the heavier pulse is up over Ballacrane and out round that area. We're getting another update just now, so we'll wait for that. As we look at the webcams up at the mountain, they don't look too bad. The mist is there and it is drifting around, but it doesn't look like it's down to a level that would be preventing us from doing anything just at the moment. And most importantly, of course, the Air Med helicopters do need to be able to fly, and they have been up assessing the conditions. And we're just being told, in fact, from the clerk of the course that it is now delayed until 6:50, so they will continue to assess conditions, and they say it is because of that light rain around the course. So we now have a delay until 6:50, and obviously this weather is it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The mist doesn't look like it's lowering over Beery or up over North Barule or up over Snaefell. It's just hanging there. But now the arrival of rain, this has just got a sense of foreboding about it, Chris Kinley.
As me and Chris were just looking at each other there, and well, it is not looking good, and a bit of despondency going on over there. But let's look back at let's look at your parade lap again. I want to talk about this bike. Come on, I want to know about this bike. In fact, I tell you what, yeah, we'll do that. We'll speak to Tim Glover first off, who's got Derek Shields, who of course is the Irish Superbike champion once again this year. Tim.
He is, yes. Congratulations on another championship. He's just said literally before we came over, I hate doing this bit, but well, we're just trying to keep everybody entertained while everybody's frustrated that we're not seeing action out there on the mountain course. It's TT all over again in many respects, but we do know that after tomorrow the weather looks pretty good.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think tomorrow.
It looked good for tonight, but
yeah, well, like it just rolled in. It's dark and gloomy here, but you know, we'd like to get going, but obviously the weather is out of everyone's hands, so just suck it and see how it goes. Like he's got to give it 15 minutes, and hopefully we'll get a run on the 500 there, you know, even for a lap or.
Well, it's sorely needed because none achieved so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we're doing a lot of sitting around, but yeah, as I say, fingers crossed, and we get spun around the lap.
How do you treat the day? I mean, are you looking at weather apps? Are you worrying about the weather, or do you just go through, chill out during the day and then just turn up and, well, we'll assess it when we get on the grid?
I don't really look at the apps. I just wake up in the morning, look out the window, see what it's doing, really, you know. But
well, it's been sunny every morning, but then by the time we've got to the evening, we've got this.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, it was a beautiful day here all day, you know, so it's just after changing, unfortunately, but sure, what can we do about it?
Another Irish championship.
Yeah, great. You know, Burrows RK Racing, you know, they've done a great job. Gave me the bikes to do it this year, you know. Some great battles with Miko, Derek McGee, and, you know, good racing for everyone. Good crowds at home, you know. It was great to see good crowds at certain events. And, yeah, no, it was good. Wrapped up the championship, so happy days.
Absolutely. Congratulations once again on that. And thank you for talking to us. You shouldn't hate it. You're good at it.
No, I do get a bit nervous, but I'm okay.
More nervous than riding a bike?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Derek Shields there. Let's go back down to Chris Kinley.
You've missed all the fun down here, Tim. Paul Jordan went to where he needs to go before he needs to go, and well, Lee Johnson sprinted over the gate, vaulted it like Red Rum gun over the hurdles at the Grand National and just bashed into the toilet. Paul thought it was me and you, Chris Palmer.
He did.
We wouldn't do that too, would we?
We wouldn't do that.
We would never do that at all. And they're just having a bit of fun, just kind of letting their hair down a little bit because they want to get out on these bikes, don't they? Now? And it's just gone darker again, hasn't it here, Chris? Completely darker, yeah. And a few spits and spots of rain just coming on once again on my glasses, and I'm looking over towards the central bit there under the RST bridge, back towards the top of St Indian, towards Annika way. For those of you all know, it's what B&Q is, if you want to know where that is. It's that sort of way there towards south, and that is where it's coming in from. This,
but again, the sad thing is, it's actually the road's bone dry here, which is, you know, obviously it's further round, and that's just the unfortunate bit, really.
As a rider, when you're sat about, in fact, I tell you what, we'll come back to you in a moment, Chris, but I know Tim Glover is out and about. He's got the roving bit of kit. He's in the middle of there with James Hillier.
Yeah, we haven't spoken to James so far at the Festival of Motorcycling, so we'll grab the opportunity while we've got yet another delay. Frustrations all round, but, well, you can't control the weather.
No, but there's certainly worse places to be, you know. We're all having a bit of a social and looking at old motorbikes and well, you know, Gary, we all know Gary does the best he can with what we got, and sadly we can't control the weather or order it or anything like that. So, but I think we are due it. You know, we've not had a good stint of sunshine at this event for a while, so hopefully it comes good. And you know, I think even if we can get half a decent lap, if there's a few damp spots, we're on the right bikes with treaded tyres, you know, we can just try and get rid of a few of them niggly things that could easily end a race come the weekend, you know. It's I think that's what everyone's trying to do, is just dial out. It's not so much trying to go really fast, it's just trying to dial out those little problems that the TT brings to bikes.
I guess the Gary Thompson and clerk of the course, though, has got to weigh up what course conditions are like, what the troops on the ground, the marshals, the travelling marshals, the people he relies on are telling him before he could make any decision about sending you guys out, even if it was stationary yellows where it's wet, or escorted over the mountain if the mist's down.
Yeah, it's very hard, I think, with, he's putting a lot of his sort of responsibility over to the marshals.
And he's never going to compromise safety.
No, absolutely. That's the main thing, and I have a lot of faith in Gary and in his safety sort of aspect. But at least we're not heading out on 200 horsepower superbikes. These old things, you can sort of get a bit more time to see what's coming. And as I say, we've got treaded tyres, so for me, it's not about setting fast laps in this practice. It's about just sort of feeling the bike and trying to fettle it to be able to do 4 laps and finish strong on when are we racing these? Monday, Sunday, Saturday. Yeah. So just building up and getting the bike reliable for Saturday.
You've always treated qualifying and practice that way, haven't you, rather than put the big signature fast lap in?
Well, yeah, there's no trophies, are there, for practice? And although even the red flag lap yesterday, I was riding around with John, and still really enjoyed it. We got stopped at Union Mills, then again at Parliament Square. But it's nice to ride around this track on a bike that's a little bit slower, and you can kind of take it in and really enjoy it. The Superbikes here now are so fast, sometimes it takes a bit of that enjoyment away because there is no margin, but these, you just get that little bit more time to take in and enjoy the moment.
Well, let's hope you get out there this evening, if not soon.
Thank you.
James Hillier there. Let's go back to Chris Kinley.
We have had an update from our man Roy Sweetman, who's out there at Glen Helen. Says the roads are quite wet through there as well now, so that is a bit of a shame. Now there's a young Scotsman over here. I say young Scotsman. I'm going to bounce round the back of his lovely little Honda. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. And young Ewan Hamilton. How are you, young man?
I'm just Faber-Rooney.
Hey, that's in it. I've never heard anybody say Faber-Rooney to me.
Have you not?
No, ever. Is that a Scottish word?
Only a Scotsman can do that.
Is it really Faber-Rooney? I can't say it the way you do. Talk us through your son to Honda then. Let's have a talk to the bike then. We love history of machines. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, this bike, it's a John Sunter bike. It's probably the same as Jamie Coward's, except there's about 40 years between us, an age between him and me. Yeah. But no, it's John Sunter, really powerful motor, good bike. I call it the couch.
Why is that then? Is it just dead comfy?
It's dead comfy. If you put it up against the TZ is like a perch. Mm-hmm. Whereas this is a comfy chair. It's a comfy ride.
Because you like the TZ?
Especially at my age, you know what I mean?
You like it nice and good with your slippers and your pipe?
Well, that's it. I've got a bus pass these days, so yeah.
Still going well, though.
Well, you got to try. But I've got a surprise for you on Saturday. But you're going to have to wait for Saturday to find out.
That's worrying, that's scary. There's a wink going on, I don't like it. Rain starts to fall at the grandstand once again, just to inform the listeners all around. You mentioned the TZ. I love that old girl here. It's a beautiful bike.
Oh, it was lovely. But it just, for me, like Chris Palmer, it came to an end.
He's not finished, He's doing a parade lap, He's doing a parade lap here.
He's not?
He is, yeah.
Has he come out of retirement?
No, not to race, just a parade lap.
Does his leather still fit him?
Yeah, just about. Man needs some fill and fix foam to get in. And he's doing trials as well. He won a trial on last week.
Don't start that again.
There was one... No, sorry. Yeah, there was one person entered in his class and he came second.
Well done, Chris. That's all I can say. I would have come third.
I'd have come last, definitely. You're lovely to talk to you, and I can't wait for the surprise now. You've got me intrigued.
Well, we'll have to wait Saturday to find out about that. I can't divulge any more than that, except that you will see me, that's for sure.
Goodness me.
Yeah, I'm a Scotsman, that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, well, no. It's a family audience. Cheers. Right, boys, let you get back to your conversation. And he was a good runner, Chris, wasn't he? He still is a blinking good runner, Ewan Hamilton. Yeah, but you had a few battles with him, didn't you?
Yeah. He's won a lot of races, that's for sure.
And you two are copying each other's hairstyles a bit.
Well, we were copying you, actually.
Tim Glover's joined us as well in the midst. Tim's actually got his hood up. I think he's trying to get down with the kids. That's probably what it is.
Just getting messages all the time. Heavy rain at Greba we're hearing now. Drizzle at Quarterbridge, and it's a bit iffy up on the mountain now with quite heavy rain we're hearing up on the mountain. So all in all, it's not painting a pretty picture, Chris.
It's not, and heavy rain coming on here now at the TT Grandstand, which is a bit of a thing, and actually a bit of a thing that's getting me head wet. So I've got a lovely little thing in the back of here, which I put away. Yeah. Thank you very much. See, don't get me head.
We'll help you get your hood on.
let's get Chris Boyd with an update on the weather, if you wouldn't mind, young Chris Boyd up on the tower.
Yeah, let's go to the Met Office published forecast from Ronalds Way, and it does say, this was published at 5 o'clock this evening, this evening will be cloudy with some hill fog developing, it already has, and the threat of a few showery outbreaks of rain. And they are only showers looking at the radar. The rain will clear away later this evening, but when exactly later this evening is, well, we've only got probably another hour or so of usable daylight, or just over anyway, so we'll struggle with that, leaving the rest of the night dry with some clear spells. And then dry and bright with some sunny spells at first tomorrow, but turning increasingly cloudy with rain spreading across the island from the west later in the afternoon, becoming persistent and heavy during tomorrow evening before clearing into the night. Quite a windy day tomorrow as well. So the forecast not looking great for tomorrow and tonight. As we look out through the Central Valley now, we can see rain falling out as we look out that way, which tallies with all the messages that have been coming in. We can't see anything of Beery at all now. The mist has come right down in the rain over there. We can't see anything of North Burrell. We can't see anything out up towards the mountain at all. So conditions, if anything, are worsening rather than brightening, Chris Kinley.
Well, number 33 in the Junior Classic is Dean Osborne, local man, and Dino, how are you, mate? You're a local fella, you know what this is all about. Let's talk about the Honda, let's talk about bikes, let's be positive about this sort of thing. Talk us about the bike, how did the ride come about, and have you ever ridden something of this sort of vintage before, and did you enjoy it? That's the question.
Yeah, I rode one back in 2013 for...
Was it that long ago?
It was, yeah, back when I worked for John Turner at Reynolds & Turner. We did the Classic Festival, and that's when I always bothered John for days and days wanting to ride it, and then last year we got this bike off Ken Garfield, and I was supposed to ride it last year, but we had a few issues with my other bike, so we put it to the side, and then this year trying to ride it this year, but with the weather it's a bit like TT and the Manx last year, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. But you're looking forward to it? Have you ever taken it for a run around Derby or anything like that?
Yeah, I took up Derby the other night, and I'm just itching to get out here tonight. But
I think everybody is actually really, really, really looking forward to get out, but you can hear... There you go. You can hear what Gary Thompson's going to say. We'll hand to Chris Boyd for the official update in a little while. But she's looking fine. Who does all the work on it? You and the family?
Yeah, me and my dad, and then obviously Ken Garfield does all the engines for us. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, listen, all right, we're going to get the update from Chris Boyd in a minute. I think that's what we're going to get. Yeah, we are going to get an update from Chris Boyd. And you can hear the disappointment there in Gary's voice. I mean, the poor fella up there. I mean, Tim's just said before, I think he must have run over about 10 black cats.
Yeah, he's got a hard job. I wouldn't like his job. I know a lot of people are whinging they're not getting out because of the weather, but, you know, it's a hard job what Gary's doing, so I respect what his decision is.
Okay, mate. Listen, thanks very much, Dean. Cheers.
Cheers, Chris.
Dean Osborne off at number 33 in the Ken Garfield machine. Very, very nice too. It looks really, really smart. Lovely 350 Honda off at number 33. Right, thanks very much to Dean. Let's go Chris Boyd for the update on what Gary was saying there.
As you say, a very disconsolate Gary Thompson saying that there is reported, the marshals are reporting lashing rain in sectors 2, 4, 5 and out around the course right the way around as far as Hilbury. So they are going to send the travelling marshals back out for another look, but he said it's not overly hopeful, but they don't want to call it yet. They want to try and give it every opportunity, and we know Gary Thompson will do that. We can see one of the travelling marshals is just starting his machine up at the top end of pit lane, so they're going to send the travelling marshals around for another look, but they are not overly hopeful of any action this evening, but they do want to try. So we'll just wait and see what happens as we look out around the course. Conditions from here, as we look up over the mountains, don't look particularly bright. In fact, they're now saying 10 past 7 we'll get a further update, so they're going to give us till 10 past 7 for another update. Chris Kinley.
Thank you very much to Chris Palmer. Chris, you're here with us there, Chris Boyd, Chris Palmer?
Yeah, I was just going to say there, Chris, I know a lot of it's down to visibility and stuff like that, but these bikes that are sat here with no tyre warmers on have all got treaded tyres on, all really soft compound, and they are actually very, very good in the rain. So if these lads did get out for a lap, it wouldn't be as big an issue as it would be to the modern bikes. That's all I was going to say.
Can anybody in our control room just go upstairs and tell race control Alex, can you get somebody to go upstairs to race control? They've left their microphone open up there, actually, because you can hear what's going on in race control. It's absolutely bouncing down. Mark Perslow's with Tim Glover, though. Tim? Hi, James.
Yeah, with Mark Perslow, and I've just seen you with the phone out taking a few pictures. There's not a lot else to do, is there? Now I've got a really heavy skiff of rain here at the grandstand.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because I was looking forward to getting out tonight. I haven't done any laps yet, so really did need this session. But yeah, we've had the bike cover on, and it's absolutely, it's coming down now, isn't it? Maybe won't be going out this evening.
Well, I think that he said in that last announcement it was very unlikely the Superbikes in the other session are going to go out, but he doesn't want to call it yet.
No.
He's going to give it till 7:10, but this is the heaviest of the rain, and we've certainly had reports that it's been lashing down like this in other parts of the course.
Right, yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see, really, see what this weather does. I mean, the classic lads, we can get out on the wet stuff because of the tyres, they're meant for it, so we might, I don't know. Oh, here we go, isn't that?
Might be a call now, yeah. Well, we'll get the news on that in a moment, but I have a feeling this isn't going to be good news, so let's go to Chris Boyd.
Yes, indeed. Gary Thompson just announcing to the grandstand and the paddock this evening's session is abandoned. Obviously, this rain has moved in at just the wrong time. It is now very heavy here at the TT grandstand. Everybody is scurrying away. This evening's qualifying session is abandoned. Now, the roads remain closed, so please just be aware that they will have to go through the roads opening procedure. The roads remain closed, so no qualifying at the Festival of Motorcycling this evening. We will look for the next session, which is due to be tomorrow night. Of course, that forecast is not particularly favourable for tomorrow. The rain is forecast to come in tomorrow afternoon and get heavier as the early part of the evening wears on. So we'll just have to watch that. But at the moment, the roads are closed and we'll reopen with the normal opening process. And we will have updates on that on Manx Radio FM, on the update of the roads opening procedure. And apart from that, we roll forward to tomorrow, another frustrating night at the Festival of Motorcycling. We'll sign off and return you to Manx Radio and Simon Quine.